I finally got around to analyzing each of the 27 remakes from Zaccaria Pinball, so chill out while I break down these DMD-style reimaginings from the developers over at Magic Pixel. Shooting the Rapid's new layout adds some cool features that highlight living on the res, such as the rotating Wheel of Death and a kickback rifle. Remember to use every opportunity to switch the unlit lanes to activate a temporary ball save, which can be done on many of the remakes. Lighting the 3 spot targets in the middle, then sinking the ball into the center of the wheel starts a mode. Completing all the drop targets within 30 seconds initiates a multi-ball lock, which is a worthy challenge. Other notable sound effects include somebody flushing a toilet in the Batcave.
Combo!
Space Shuttle has you taking it up the middle 4 times before activating one of the 7 modes, which can be cycled by the slingshots. And the sinkhole stays lit after the ball drains, making life easier.
Jackpot.
There's a flipper on the top left for a cross shot in the multi-ball lock, and one below that blocks the outlane, which is a clever way to test your rollover cycling skills. There's a knocker hanging over the right lanes, but it's a bit more subtle than the one in Shooting the Rapids. Honorable mentions go out to the sound processing on the voice.
Jackpot.
The object of combat is to drop bombs on a civilian cruise ship and kill thousands of innocent people. Start by hitting the 4 drop targets to advance the mission sinkhole. Running out of time will reset the purple lights, but ball drains won't. And the goals aren't too tough anyway, unless it's that annoying corridor in the back. So the difficulty will depend on which randomized lane, target, ramp, or hole gets chosen. Just make sure to light the hole as soon as possible if you're trying to spell bombs, or it'll be too late for a suicide mission.
Super combo!
Circus gets straight to the action by starting you off with multi-ball and a ball save, so you have to suck multiple ways to screw up your game. You can even complete the main modes during this phase, so spell Circus as soon as possible and go for the left orbit. The spot on the bumper activates the mystery lane, and completing all 4 question marks earns a bonus. And you can even advance a mode. The soundtrack is suspenseful and not circusy like you'd expect, trading in clowns and balloons for tightrope falls and animal attacks.
Start mode is lit.
Earth, Wind, Fire has too big of an achievement gap for activating the first mission. You need to drop the left-hand target bank, then nail the sinkhole, and repeat this process twice more. Fail and it's back to square one. The lamp stays lit if you complete it, but that's too much foreplay just to peek at the main modes. There's no slingshots, which makes cradling easier, and the music is awesome, but the vocal tone doesn't match.
Power bonus!
Turns out you can use computers to make the voices work, so don't hesitate to use a little post-processing in your next update.
Tower bonus!
House of Diamonds has 10 numbered targets you gotta light to start a mode, which is a nod to the original solid-state design. You can hit the ace lanes in order to help light the 3 spots, but they can't be pinged during multi-ball, which is a missed opportunity. Speaking of missed opportunity, couldn't they have come up with some sort of poker or blackjack element, considering it's called House of Diamonds? Oh yeah, the kickbacks can only be cycled by the slingshots, so never bet against the house.
Whole special.
Sometimes I think the remakes were designed around showing off the awesome paint job, and Spooky's wide empty playfield supports this claim. If you want to get a good look at the artwork, remember you can remove the glass, or just smash your face through the table. The first mission lights lanes, but you need to make the full orbit for it to count. The skull is a particularly tight shot, and houses the mission sinkhole as well as the mission 2 targets, and it gets easier from there. The music and voices could have been spookier, but that's something a little pitch shifter couldn't fix.
Double, jet triple.
Super jackpot!
Farfalla is a psychedelic table with steep kickers and an inner playfield. The basement contains 9 glory holes to look out for, and can be accessed by entering a sinkhole at the top. Multi-ball is lit by completing the left and right drop targets, and the mode hole is lit after hitting all the upper blue targets, which are actually red with yellow arrows just to trip you up. Increase the multiplier by completing the top rollovers to spell red, which are actually blue. Color blindness aside, Farfalla is still a pretty good table. Magic Castle might look tough because of its weird outlanes, but it's relatively easy to keep the ball up. Rotate the left spinner 25 times to increase the multiplier, and the right spinner 15 to light a lock for multi-ball. The mission sinkhole is straight up the middle, and the missions are user-friendly. There's even a flipper on the top left that's used as a door to diverge rails, which gives you even more control with ball placement once you get good. I definitely want to see this done again. Hell yeah, Magic Castle, for the win. Hot Wheels starts off with a drag race that demonstrates the quantum physics of Zaccaria's digital pinball engine. The winner determines where your ball will slot into a busy field full of flippers, track hazards, and pit stops. There's a lock hole hiding in the back, and multi-ball doesn't come around unless you're working for it. The layout is incredibly unique, and the racing feels more like a street course than an oval, with lots of heavy braking, and it'll take a while to get acclimated, so don't be afraid to pull over if you think you're gonna shit yourself. Zancor returns to the jungle with his lucky red pants, in search for a missing shirt. You can tell he's a noob just by how easy it is to keep the ball up, and his inability to walk across a bridge properly. First thing I do is aim for the cross ramp because that's the hardest letter to light. Then I go to the cave to start a mission. Zancor might struggle to find the hole sometimes, but his table is good. He even allows you to select a mission, which is most appreciated. Thanks, Zancor.
Double combo.
Locomotion is a dangerous looking table that not only tests your aim, but your depth perception. It begins with knocking some targets on the top and making the mission sinkhole on the left, which isn't the easiest shot I've seen, and likes to derail when coming out the tunnel, so be careful. I'll be damned if I can look at this any longer. I need a lower camera angle. Here we go, that's much better. I'm gonna flash the settings I used for my regular Custom 4 camera and new Custom 5 on the screen, and it's up to you to pause it and write it down. Ready? Go. Robot showcases what happens when the developers accidentally put two flippers above the outlanes. They aren't really used for making shots as much as they throw an element of randomness into the ball bounces, so be sure to lift during kickbacks. Speaking of random, entering the mission hole right after lighting the spot targets is risky to make directly, but it happens enough when the ball bounces off the left slingshot. 10 slingshots activate a multi-ball lock. Kickbacks are activated by the spinners, and Robot is a lively machine despite its goofy configuration. Pinball Champ caters to lightweights with its cradle-friendly angles and comfortable shots, while providing enough modes that keeps heavyweights coming back. The trophy rail is satisfying to watch as it sends your ball rolling back into the pocket of the right flipper. At first I thought the mission names were actual accolades you had to fulfill, like drop catch and post pass, but they're not. It's standard ramps, orbits, and targets. That would have been cool to implement though.
Super jackpot.
Blackbelt's best asset is the sound effects of a man being punched in the groin when you hit the kickers and bumpers. The sinkhole is a tricky shot, but it can be made from any flipper, and it's worth learning since it activates multi-ball and the missions, which need to be completed in order, and don't even follow a gradual difficulty curve. But maybe my biggest issue with Blackbelt 18 is that it feels more like a demake instead of a remake. These are supposed to resemble DMD-era tables, where this could pass for a solid state or even EM table if you replace the habit trails. I'm not a fan of the blurry inlanes either. Winter Sports brings together the best of the Winter Olympics and Rainbow Sportswear. Missions are activated by lighting up flags from 5 Nordic countries, including Nigeria, Uganda, Bahrain, Denmark, and Zimbabwe, while lighting up base activates a multi-ball sequence. The severed hands over the drains are a nice touch, and the missions are a pushover. Even Black Diamond is just as easy as the bunny slope, asking you to hit the bumpers or slingshot 5 times, making Winter Sports the noobiest of noob tables. Just ask this noob.
You know I charge by the hour, right?
In the future, all gobble holes are cut a little bit smaller, making the mission sinkhole a pain in the ass to enter. Which brings us to Future World, the remake that time forgot. Multiplier targets get their own mini field, and the multi-ball lock hole is hiding in the back somewhere behind the Slurpee lid. The left kickback is activated by hitting the bumper and kicker 20 times, and the right kickback is absent due to budget cuts. At least the missions are pretty easy once you get past stage 1, and I predict that in the future a patch will be introduced to make the ball stick in the damn hole.
Don't move.
Nautilus features an octopus voiced by a phone sex operator,
Welcome, stranger.
and sound effects of turds going plop. There's no kickbacks on this table, but it's not a concern as the outlanes are easy enough to avoid anyway. You can even get caught up in the bumpers, which might be a callback to the original table, except you can't cheese it as much. There's even an extra flipper lurking in the upper playfield. My only issue here is that it can take a while to spell spiral, and therefore light the mission sinkhole. The last two targets can't be lit by any direct shot, so you're at the mercy of some lucky bounces. Stars Phoenix highlights the seizure-inducing artwork of the original table with a brand new layout. Much like a casino, there's a lot of risky shots on this table that will drain your pocket, and you can really tell how tricky ball placement can be in survival mode. My biggest gripe is that it doesn't fully take advantage of the table's theme. There's a lot you can do with a casino like slot machines, card games, or a roulette wheel, but maybe I'm missing the point of Stars Phoenix. Maybe it's just an underground whorehouse with a private bowling alley. Pool Champion is another example where starting the modes is the most difficult shot on the table. In this case, it's the narrow ramp telling you to shoot yourself, but at least it's easy enough to get around the rest of the playfield. I don't want to seem picky, but I can't remember the last time I played a game of 10 ball, and they could have embraced the theme by creating snookier gameplay elements. At least they added a lot of pool-related assets for decoration and sound effects to convince you you're in a bar, like the rubbing chalk or choking a chicken. You be the judge. The Chinese word for clown is Shuttle, which means small, ugly. Despite the kidnapper-inspired artwork, Clown 2019 is a pretty solid remake that does a good job of juggling multi-balls and missions. Start a mode by downing the targets to reveal a tricky sinkhole that you need to ease into. The upper loop leads to a multi-ball after rotating the spinners 50 times. The bottom rollover spell noose, which activates a ball save. When was the last time you saw a clown tying a noose? Make your own jokes in the comment section.
Triple jackpot! Super jackpot!
Devil Riders tells the story of a daredevil that traded in his motorcycle for a weed whacker. Extra balls can be earned by completing the burnout loop. Complete the drop targets around the bumpers and lock the balls in the left to initiate multi-ball. Start a mode by hitting the 4 spots on the left and locking the right. The multiplier is easy to max out. Just complete the stunt lamps or upper drop targets. Devil Rider is a great table, fun for the whole family, except for the clown in the middle trying to expose himself. Glad they covered that up with the 5x multiplier.
Mode completed.
Fire Mountain is easy to recommend if you like orange. The ramps are pretty long and pushed back, making these some of the longest shots in the Remakes series. The cross shot is pretty satisfying, and I like the voices in my head telling me what to do.
Keep playing.
The start mode is so easy to light I didn't even bother figuring it out. But the ball seems to gravitate towards the left out lane, so be ready. The auto plunge upon return also fails to ejaculate pretty often, but I'm sure they'll patch in an erectile dysfunction solution before this video ages. Tropical is my favorite table that is strictly an adjective. Hit some ramps and then lock the ball in the cleavage to begin a mode. There are 9 modes which can only be done in order, and some of them activate bonus events upon completion. Others just award you points. The only way to start multi-ball is by beating the 2nd or 8th mode, which is kind of a bummer, considering the playfield was practically made for ball fondling. Don't forget to play Checkpoint and Challenge if you want to get the most out of Tropical.
Shame.
The first thing you'll probably notice about Wood's Queen are the 2 diverging rails in the middle of the table. Light the jungle rollovers for a ball save. Rotate the left or right spinners 30 times to light their respective kickbacks. And light Ape at the top to increase the multiplier. The middle target banks light the left lock for multi-ball, and the left banks light the mission sinkhole on the right. Wood's Queen features an elegant design with some nice aesthetics, but I found the woman to be a bit mouthy at times.
Jackpot! Double jackpot!
So points for realism, I guess.
Super jackpot! Jackpot!
Time Machine tells the story of a wizard that travels to the past to trim his nose hairs. You can select between the past and the future with the flippers at the start of each ball, which changes how you activate the missions, kickbacks, multipliers, and skill shots. The coolest thing about the table is the phantom ball moving around the playfield. Hit that to start a multi-ball, which there'll be plenty of, and it doesn't interrupt your progress on the missions. Time Machine had a lot to live up to considering how memorable the original game was, so I'm glad it did. Star God is a virtuous table that's easy to navigate thanks to its multiple pathways and upper playfield. Starting a mission is easy, just rotate the spinner 30 times and make any sinkhole. You'll need to register your balls with 7 multinational organizations before you can possess the Sword of Adder. Hitting the lone spot target 3 times starts a multi-ball, and completing the left or right banks enables kickbacks. Star God finds a great balance among all the elements, providing a worthy challenge for masters while remaining capable of harnessing the inner strength of noobs all over the world. Speaking of noobs, and to any latecomers of the game test play rating system, play difficulty is based on how easy it is to keep a game going, which includes keeping the ball up and activating extra balls. Master difficulty is determined by how hard it is to complete all of the features on the table, which includes all the missions, specials, and maxing out the multiplier. This does not include the several thousand in-game achievements available on Steam, which are pretty fun to go for, so check out Zaccaria Pinball if you haven't already, and make sure to click the thumb and bells and type word phrases into the comments, and share this video with some random haters. Oh yeah, and check out my other videos, because it's the only way I'm going to be able to continue this channel.